Alright, I am here with a updated look at my PlayStation 4 collection for the end of 2019. Every year I update my collection here on YouTube with all the games, pretty much for every modern system, and then I'll do occasional updates of older systems as well. Leave a comment down below what systems you'd like me to do. I plan on doing a Switch one before the end of the year, and I did a 3DS one last week. DS a few weeks ago. Make sure to check the playlist, the video game collections playlist, and let me know which ones that you've seen that haven't been updated in a while that you think I should update, because just helpful information to me. Before I start the video as well, make sure to leave a like down below. Helps out the channel. Leave a comment with some of your favorite PS4 games. Ones that I may not have. Ones that maybe I do have, but you really like, or you think I should give a chance. Maybe I didn't play them yet or something. Because that's another thing to mention, is that, I have some games that are sealed. I don't go out and buy games full $60 price and then keep them sealed. Usually if I have a game sealed, I got it on sale for cheap, and I figured it was probably a good idea just to grab it and just make sure I lock it down for that price, so I don't have to worry about it later, or, pay more later. Yeah, I'm going to go through my collection now, and just usually with these I give a short little thoughts of what I think of each game and just a quick overview. So starting out here with 428 Shibuya Scramble. This is a fantastic game. This is a really cool visual novel. It came out in 2008 in Japan for the Wii. This is the first time it was localized here. Really, really cool. It has a bunch of different stories that all intersect in really cool ways. Where you can be playing one story path and you get locked out of that, and then you have to go back into this other person's story path and do something that changes the story path of the other person. I talked about it more in depth in a video I did a few weeks ago called 10 underrated games from the 2010s that you should check out, or 5 underrated games from the 2010s you should check out. And it's definitely comes highly recommended for me. Kind of hard to get a physical copy. It's getting a little harder to get a physical copy. But I see it go on sale on the PSN pretty frequently for about $15, and I'd say highly worth it. Really fun platinum trophy too, to grab. So I'm a bit of a trophy hunter, not a huge trophy hunter by any means, but it's a fun hunt there. We got here Batman Arkham Knight. My favorite of the Arkham games will always be Arkham Asylum. I feel like that's the strongest in the series, and I feel like they kind of went downhill after that. They're still, good games, but I feel like that was really, it was tight, concise, really strong game, and I don't really feel like they should have gone open world with it too much. Although I think now, with modern tech, I feel like it could be better. I wasn't too impressed with this game's open world, even on PS4, and I never actually finished this one because I got a game-breaking glitch that made it so I couldn't finish something. I forget what exactly it was. Something wasn't loading that should have been loading, and I never bothered to see if that ever got fixed. And I just, took the game out and figured, and never got back to it. But, I mean, I did enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I really think the Arkham games are a lot of fun. I like the combat and all that, but I really feel like the first one is still the best one. Batman, the Telltale series. I really, really liked this. I played the second one, but I didn't get physical copy. I just did the download because I didn't really want to have to wait for the physical, and I don't know if the physical ever came out actually for season 2, because Telltale shut down pretty soon after, and these just come with the first episode on the disc, and then you just have to download the rest anyway. I found the second season had a really great start, really great first episode, and then I felt pretty let down by the rest of it, but this first season is really awesome. And if you're a Batman fan, you really owe it to yourself to check this out. Really, really cool things that they do with the universe of Batman and with the lore, and they just do different stuff with it. And you don't always see that. You don't always see, an established IP like Batman get messed around and toyed around with, and get a new spin on it quite like this. I think at least maybe outside of comics, obviously you see that, but in the gaming sphere, and especially the movie sphere, you seem to see the same thing over and over again. So it was really cool to get that, and I thought it was a great narrative experience. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. This is one I got for really cheap, and it also came with a steelbook case, which is why I grabbed it for really cheap. I started playing it, and then I felt and I wasn't really in the mood to play Metroidvania, but everything I've heard about it is pretty good, and it looks really good. I just was not in the mood to be playing it at the time, so I haven't put too much time into it to give a good opinion. We got here, this is Catherine Full Body. This is just a steelbook for it. For some reason, I got the, what's it called, Heart's Desire Premium Edition, which I did a unboxing for on the channel, and it does not come with a slipcover that has information on the spine, like, you know, the title. So that's a bit annoying, because the regular one that came with, when you bought the game normally, it came in a steelbook with a slipcover. So that's a little bit annoying, but Catherine is a stellar game. It is a very, very unique title. It's kind of, I mean, the best way I can see it is if you mixed Persona, which it's developed by the Persona team. If you mixed Persona with Hubert is probably the best way I could possibly describe it. And I talked about it more in my, 5 games from the 2010s that you should check out video. So I definitely, once again, I'll plug that because I think that's worth watching if you're looking for some underrated gems. But I don't want to talk too much about it, spoil it. I really feel like you should just go in blind. But it comes highly recommended from me. This is Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. I was never huge on these games on the PS1. I always thought they were fun, but I never thought they were great. But going back and playing them, the first one's a bit of a pain, but 2 and 3 are a lot of fun. I really, really had a great time with this package. And I'm excited to see if they do something new with Crash. I feel like it could have a lot of potential. Got here Death Stranding, and kind of a bit of a contentious game right now. I can say that I really like it. It's definitely not for everyone, but I don't really like that. I don't really like, that as a criticism. Oh, well, it's not for everyone, because nothing is really for everyone. You could take something as, well-beloved as, I don't know, Super Mario Brothers, and that's not for everybody. So I don't really think that's very constructive in any way. But I really like it. I think it's really interesting. Once again, it's really unique, and you don't see a whole bunch of that. Not especially in AAA. But once again, I don't want to talk too much about it. It can be a bit of a pain to play sometimes. And if you're starting out with it and you're a little bit kind of hesitant on it, I would say wait until you get to the second map. The game, and you get probably after the 3rd chapter, it really starts picking up. And I'm looking forward to finishing it. I think I'm pretty close to the end. I'm not sure though. But I'm looking forward to finishing it because I really, really like it. And, this is not just me as a Kojima fanboy, because I do really like Kojima's work. Although I'm not fans of all his games. I really didn't like Metal Gear Solid 4, for instance. But other than that, I mean, I think it's really cool. I think it's really interesting. And I'm excited to see what Kojima Productions does going forward. Destiny. This came with my PS4. I got the white model, in 2014. I'm still rocking I guess I should mention that I'm still rocking the base model PS4. So there's some games that I don't have, just because I've heard they don't run very well on base model PS4. I know Control is something that interested me. It seemed like a pretty cool game, but I heard nightmare things about the base model version. So kind of just waiting it out. I never bought a Pro. I never jumped on the Pro, and now I'm just kind of waiting for PS5 and, backwards compatibility with PS4. But Destiny, not a huge fan. I kind of got on a tangent there. Not a huge fan. Not really for me. I'm not much of an online gamer, as you guys can tell. So I'm definitely not a huge Destiny guy. Got here Devil May Cry HD Collection. HD collection of these classic PS2 titles. Devil May Cry 2, of course, not really great, but the others are a good time. And then we got Devil May Cry 5, which I picked up recently and have been playing a bit of. I'm about halfway through. And I think it's great. I think it's a really, really great action game. I love the different combo potential you can get and the different play styles of the characters. Definitely worth a look. I didn't ever actually play Devil May Cry 4. I'm not really in it on the story. I don't really care about the story that much for Devil May Cry. One thing that drives me absolutely up the wall, though, and I think is kind of inexcusable for a game released in 2019, is that there's no way to pause cutscenes. If you hit the start button, or what is it called now? The options button, it skips the cutscene. You hit the home button, the cutscene still plays while you have it home. You can't skip the cutscenes, which is really very irritating to me. and really shouldn't be a thing in a modern game at this point. So, other than that, though, very solid action game. Dragon Quest Builders, very fun Minecraft-style game in the Dragon Quest universe. Fun just to kind of chip away at and mess around with. I put about 20 hours into it. I had a good time. I didn't finish it, but, I had a good time with it. Dragon Quest Heroes, The World Trees Woe and the Blight Below. Terrible title, way too long, but it is a Musou game, like Dynasty Warriors, something like that. Hyrule Warriors, maybe some people are more familiar with. But it's in the Dragon Quest universe. So if that sounds appealing to you, you'll probably like it. And if that does not sound interesting to you, then you probably won't like it. Final Fantasy XII, The Zodiac Age. I've tried with Final Fantasy XII several times. I've tried with the PS2 version a couple times. I tried with this version. For some reason, I just can't get into it. And I'm a pretty big Final Fantasy fan. I'm not like a mega fan by any means. I haven't played all the games. But for some reason, 12's just never cut it for me. So I don't know what it is. But I really did enjoy 15. It has its faults for sure. It's definitely a flawed game. And I never actually played any of the post-game, like, the DLC content or anything. I know a lot has changed putting that stuff in there. But I really thought Final Fantasy 15 was fantastic. I just thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was just very, I don't know, it was just a fulfilling game, I would say. I don't know really how else to put it, but I definitely enjoyed it. This is another one I couldn't really get into, Final Fantasy Type 0 HD. I know this was a PSP game back in the day in Japan, and we got it over here, and I don't know, didn't care for it. Fist of the North Star, Lost Paradises is still sealed. I got it on sale. I keep meaning to watch Fist of the North Star, at least the movie of it. I don't know too much about. I'm not huge into anime, which is weird because you guys can tell by now I'm really into Japanese gaming and just Japanese culture as a whole. But I have never really been big into anime. But everything I've seen about the anime looks crazy. It looks really fun. So I'd like to check it out. This is actually published by Sega, developed by Ryuga Gotoku, Studios, who develops the Yakuza games. And it basically looks like a Yakuza in the Fist of the North Star universe, but, if I want to jump into it, I probably at least should learn something about Fist of the North Star first. God of War. Now, here's a kind of shameful, this is still on the backlog. I have not finished it. I'll probably just restart it. I got about maybe a third of the way through the game, and just came out at a bad time. I was pretty busy. It was last year when I was, when we were moving and everything, so it just kind of came out at a bad time and kind of passed me by a little bit, and I played a good amount of it, but I didn't finish it. So it's definitely one I really liked what I played of it, but I did not finish it. So a bit of a shameful inclusion there, but I will definitely get to it soon. Horizon Zero Dawn, another game that I can tell is very, very good. It's very, really well made, and interesting to play, but something about the setting I just don't really care for. I don't know what it is. I can tell it's a good game, and I've given it, I think, 3 shots at this point. It just didn't really stick with me, which is okay. Not everyone, I can't get into every game possible, but I can tell it's a really good game, and I know it's a quality exclusive for the system, but just for some reason, I just didn't stick with me. Judgment, this is I hesitate to call it a spin-off, because it's not really a spin-off. This is a new IP that takes place in the world of the Yakuza series, developed by the Yakuza developers. It takes place in the same universe, but there's no real existing characters. Some of the, Yakuza clans are mentioned by name, and it takes place in the same open-world city, but it is technically its own unique thing. And I think this is the best. If you're kind of, interested in getting into Yakuza, but you're intimidated by how much content there is out there, you don't need to know anything about Yakuza to enjoy this. And this actually might be my favorite Yakuza experience, at least in that vein. This game is really great. A lot of great side content, just absolutely awesome stuff there. And I really enjoyed it. The story, I think, if you like Yakuza and you haven't played Judgment, the story is really well written. The story is really well written, and it has English voice acting this time around, and it's really well acted as well. Really, really good. I was really surprised because Yakuza games have always had, their stories are fine, they're serviceable, they're fun, they get you from point A to point B, and you like the characters. That's the biggest drive of Yakuza. But I think Judgment really had a very interesting story that you don't really see. It's about a topic that you don't really see covered too much in gaming, especially. So really, really cool. Kingdom Hearts 1.5 plus 2.5 Remix. I don't really want to say anything bad about Kingdom Hearts because the fans will get mad. Kingdom Hearts is fun. I mean, it's fun. I don't really care about this story. That's just a personal thing. I know people really like it, and if you really do like it, then that's great. I'm glad you enjoy that. I don't really care about it personally. I also have 2.8, which I have not actually... I got this really cheap, and I have not played it. But I did actually play all the way through Kingdom Hearts 3 this year. I got it when it came out, and I played through the entire thing. And just from the stance that it's a fun... I mean, to me, it was a fun action RPG, and you get to explore these Disney worlds. I thought it was a lot of fun. I know a lot of people were let down character-wise and story-wise. I don't really care, so to me, I was like, hey, this was a fun time. And that's pretty much all I have to say, so there you go. We got some of the best gems of all time. Knack, of course, and Knack 2. These are fairly average... kind of brawler platformer type games. They're not bad by any means, but they're not also very interesting. My friend and I, ironically, were playing through Knack 2. We were going to beat it in one sitting. And I actually got a game-breaking bug that I couldn't finish it. There was... I had to beat a bunch of enemies. To finish up an area, and then a gate would open up to let us through to the next area. And we finished off all the enemies, we killed all the enemies, and then the gate just didn't open. We restarted the game a bunch of times, reloaded old saves, it didn't work, so I could never see Knack 2 to the end. And what a shame. The Last of Us Remastered? I'm not sure what I've said I've said maybe some mixed things about Last of Us in the past. And I actually replayed it this year. Once they gave the announcement for Last of Us 2, that, release date, I went back and played all the way through Last of Us on hard, and I think it's really great. I think it's really well done. I don't think it's a perfect game by any means. Sometimes the AI can be a little bit goofy, and some of the shooting doesn't always feel great, but it's a really well-designed game. It's an interesting narrative, extremely well acted. It looks fantastic for technically a PS3 game, a game that came out in 2013. It looks absolutely stunning. So I'm really excited for part 2. We got a whole bunch of Lego games that I'm just going to show real quick and then move past. I like the Lego games. I think they're fun. Little platformer. I'll throw, when I have some podcasts I want to listen to, I will throw one of these on and get the platinum. Or just kind of grind towards the platinum. Kind of mindless, but it's a good time. So these are all the ones that I have here. The one I'm working on right now is DC Supervillains, which... I'll plug in every once in a while when I just want to listen to podcasts. If there's not anything specific I want to listen or want to play, that's kind of what I'll just mess around or listen to YouTube videos or something. And they're not revolutionary by any means. They're really great games if you have like a young kid or something. I think they'd be probably pretty fun to play in co-op with a child, if you have a child or something. But they're fun. That's all I can really say. And sometimes that's all a game really needs to be. We got here Life is Strange, which I think it's really great. I know it's a bit of a meme sometimes. Some of the writing's a little bit weird. I mean, it's definitely, you can tell that, some 40-year-old Frenchmen tried to write a game to sound like West Coast teenagers. But really interesting narrative experience, and really memorable characters, and just concept and story. Really cool. I think it's another game that you should go into like I did, just completely blind. And I think it's a great experience. I also got here Life is Strange Before the Storm, which is a kind of prequel to the original Life is Strange. I have not played Life is Strange 2 yet. Looking forward to that whenever that comes out physically. Release schedule was weird. It came out like every 6 months, it felt like. It took forever for that game to fully come out. But Life is Strange Before the Storm feels like it's way better than it should be. It's developed by a different developer. And this also, voice acting was recorded during the union SAG-AFTRA voice acting strike, so has different voice actors too. So, you know, it probably shouldn't be as good as it is, but I still really liked it. And it also centers around a character in the original game that I didn't really like. And I felt like it just kind of brought everything together, and was genuinely, I kind of was dismissive of it before I played it, because I figured it was just, you know, maybe a cash grab, or they just wanted to do something with the license while it was big. But no, I think it was definitely a worthwhile story to tell, and I thought it was pretty good. Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. The thing, I mean, I'm not going to talk about, you know, how Ground Zeroes didn't need to exist, and it could have been part of Metal Gear Solid 5 regular. But I'm not going to do that. I didn't actually really care for Ground Zero, so I was a little bit hesitant going into Phantom Pain here, but I had a lot of fun with Phantom Pain. Once again, you know, I talked about Death Stranding. Not everything Kojima does is golden. Obviously, this wasn't really his fault. Konami kind of rushed him to finish this game, and that's really a shame. But gameplay in this, in the world, open world exploration and stuff, fantastic. Story, on the other hand, practically non-existent. So I never actually finished it, which is weird because I'm a pretty big Metal Gear fan. But I felt like I had seen everything I needed to see, and I didn't really care about seeing the end of the story. I hate to say it. So that's a bit disappointing. But other than that, great game. Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. I'm not really a Lord of the Rings fan. I've seen, you know, the movies and a while ago. I think they're all right. They're fine. They're good. But this game's really cool. It's kind of like a Batman Arkham almost, in a way. Not exactly, but close enough. But in that world, it had that really cool Nemesis system that was really kind of a fresh concept. And I remember everyone around then saying, I can't wait till all these games take this Nemesis system and make, you know, make it into their own game. And it never happened. But really interesting game. Whether or not you're a fan of the license. Monster Hunter World. I've tried with Monster Hunter 3 different times to get into it. I have friends who are really into it, and you know, I've tried to get into it to play with them. And Monster Hunter World was the best attempt I had at getting into it. And I can tell it's a great game. It's just not really for me. But still, I mean, and Capcom's really, you know, outdone themselves supporting it and everything they've done with it. It's definitely a great game, but just not really something for me. I'm more of, you know, I like to see the end of a game for the most part, unless it, you know, I don't feel like I need to, like I just said, but I like to play something that I have an end to. Like my one friend has like 800 hours in the Monster Hunter World, and, you know, more power to him. He only paid, you know, $60 for the game and got that much content. But that's just not how I like to play games. Nier Automata. Really cool game. Another one I didn't finish, but I want to go back to. That's on the backlog, because I liked a lot what I played. It just came out. It came out that week that Breath of the Wild came out, and then you know, Persona. After I beat Breath of the Wild, then Persona 5 came out, and it just kind of got swept under the rug. So that's definitely on the backlog, but don't know when I'll get to it. Ninokuni-Revenant Kingdom. I still have the Target clearance sticker on this for $9.98. I plan on opening it, so I'm not going to take the sticker off. Because I plan on playing this. The first Ni no Kuni game was really great. And I've heard good things about this one, even though I don't think anyone would say that it's better than the original one. Still heard good things, and when I saw it was $9.98 at Target on clearance, I figured why not. Okami HD. Once again, another game that I've not given its due diligence. And I liked what I played of this, I just never finished it. I played it on Wii, I tried it on PS3 as well. And, you know, this is probably the one I'm going to really sit down and play, but I just didn't give it enough time. I really liked what I played, I just got distracted or something. Ratchet and Clank, this is a remake of the original PS2 game. Came out to coincide with the really, you know, the movie no one cared about when that came out. But this is really good. This is a really great looking game. It's a really fun platformer, and you can get it really cheap now, so highly recommended. Resident Evil 2. I'd say Resident Evil 2 is my 2018 game of the year. Or 2019, geez. 2019 game of the year. It is stellar. It is excellent. Really, really great. Sound design, fantastic. Definitely play it with headphones on, because the sound design is incredible. And it's just so good. So good. Really excited for the Resident Evil 3 remake after that, because really, really took me by surprise. I mean, it looked good in all the previews and everything. And I just really, like, I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't expect it to be that good. So very excited to see where Resident Evil goes forward. Capcom has been killing it lately. And I'm excited to see where that goes forward. We got Resident Evil 7 here. Resident Evil 7, I don't know. I'm not one to get scared at horror games. I've played a fair share of horror games, and I've never said I've been scared. You know, some games are maybe tense just with, you know, the survival horror aspect of it, where you got to make sure everything you're doing. But this is genuinely a pretty scary game, actually. You know, nothing terrifying by any means, but it gets some good jump scares in on you without feeling cheap. You know, I'm not 6 years old, so I'm not going to be like, oh, I couldn't sleep at night. But no, it's genuinely a tense game, and it really gets you with the atmosphere. Really, really great. Resident Evil Revelations 2, I got this for cheap. It's still sealed. I liked the first Revelations, but I've not heard great things about this one. I do think, though, that they really have a great path with Resident Evil right now, because they can continue doing over-the-shoulder games with the remakes. I'm sure they'll probably remake Code Veronica and probably 4 moving forward. I think they can continue to go first-person with Resident Evil 8 and 9 in that, you know, the main lines. And then I think they can still do the action games like 5 and 6 in these Revelations games. So that's at least how I feel about it. Rock Band 4, I was big into Rock Band and Guitar Hero back, you know, 2008 through 2010. That was basically all I played on the Wii. I played so much Rock Band and Guitar Hero, and you know, it had kind of run its course, and you know, by the time it died out, it was like, okay, I think I'm ready for this. But they brought it back. I got this really cheap with the PS4 guitar. I think it was like $40 on clearance at Best Buy, and I gave it a shot. You know, I probably downloaded $20 worth of some songs that I wanted on there, and for that, it's a good deal. I liked it. I mean, I had fun with it. It's nothing spectacular. You can definitely tell that the main set list is pretty low budget. There's not really anything that great on there. But, you know, for bringing it back, they didn't fail. But, yeah, I don't think it really... I think Mad Catz actually went out of business for a while because of it, because they published it. But, hey, Secret of Mana, this is a remake of the original Super Nintendo game. And I've not heard great things. I got this on sale. I figured I'd just keep it sealed. The artwork is great, obviously. And it's a good thing to have the collection, but it's not exactly probably the best way to play Secret of Mana. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I really liked the 2013 Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider. I played that on Xbox One because it was exclusive there for a while. And when it came to this one, I felt like, yeah, this is really good. This is more Tomb Raider. And I kind of didn't finish it. But I'd like to go back to it, especially if I kind of get an itch for a game like that. Because it was, by all means, great. But I just kind of felt like, yeah, I've done this already twice before. With not that much different here. So, you know, it's not that the game is bad. And, you know, I do this a lot where, you know, I play the game a little bit and I'm like, I don't think right now. And then someday I'll just wake up and be like, you know what I want to play? I want to play Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And I'll just go and play it and have a great time with it. So, you know, you never know. Moving along here. I've been pretty long-winded this one, huh? Shenmue 1 and 2. Shenmue 1 and 2, I didn't play 2, I've played 1. And I like it. It is something that I like just because of the heart that goes into it, kind of like the atmosphere. And I don't know, there's something kind of, I don't know how to put it really. There's something just kind of charming about it. It's definitely a game lost in time. And I think that's what I like about it. Of course, I'm, you know, really into Japan, so that kind of gets me too on it. But I really like it. Another one that I got on sale, I haven't played yet because I need to play 2 first. Shenmue 3, which the game came out on a Tuesday, and on that same Friday, I ordered this game on Best Buy for $25 off for $35. So that probably says about how well that game's going to do. Which I think, obviously, there was a Kickstarter. They announced at Sony's show 2015. And I think they kind of get how they're going to do with this and, you know, where this series is going to go. And I think they probably realize that it's not going to sell that many copies. But it's still just great to see it exists. It's out there. Shenmue fans get their Shenmue 3. I know it did not conclude the series, which I would have probably done because I don't know if we're going to be getting a Shenmue 4. Hey guys, Sleeping Dogs here. I've had this, I think, every PS4 collection. It's always been sealed because I got it, I think, for $6 on Square Enix's website. And I've heard great things about it. And every year I still like, yeah, I haven't played it. Maybe next year. I think that's what I said the past 2 years. Spider-Man, really, really awesome. Really, really fun. Just the movement and just how, the controls and everything just are perfect, really, for a Spider-Man game. The story is a fun Spider-Man story. Definitely more involved than, probably one of the movies. I guess probably because it has to be, because it's, 20-hour game. But I really had a blast with it. There's not much to say that hasn't been said already, besides maybe, it really makes you feel like Spider-Man. But I thought it was great. Spyro Reignited Trilogy, just like the Crash Trilogy. These are fun. This remake is great. Bring back the fun of the original games. And they did a really great job with that. I'm sure these games sold... I know Crash and Spyro both sold pretty well, these remasters. So I have no doubt in my mind they're going to continue those series on. And hopefully what they do is good and not like the crap they were, churning out in the early mid-2000s. Star Ocean Integrity and Faithlessness. I got this, I think, 2016 Black Friday for really cheap. More of a collection piece. I'm a big JRPG fan, and Star Ocean is obviously a big series, but this one was certainly not a beloved entrance. Entry in the Star Ocean series. And I don't think it's going to be remembered too fondly. I probably don't think that series is going to be back with a new mainline entry. I know they remade the first one, or they ported it or translated. I'm not sure what they did with that. Star Wars Battlefront. Fun game, but there's like no content in this. I remember, being like, hey, that was fun. And then I kind of burnt out on everything that there was. And then I, there was a $50 DLC pack. So, a bit of a shame. This one I got Star Wars Battlefront 2. My friend bought a PS4 bundle that came with it. I bought it off of him for like $10. I heard that there was a story campaign in this, but I heard it was terrible, so I'm probably not going to check that out. But I jumped in this, played a couple hours of multiplayer matches, and had a fun time, so I'm not going to hate on it. I know there was a bunch of mess with microtransactions and that junk, but I didn't care. I didn't run into that, so I don't really care. I think they fixed it by the time I played it, but no, it was bad when it originally came out. Tales of Zestiria. I'm a pretty average Tales fan. I like the games. I haven't played all of them. But Zestiria, something about Zestiria just didn't click with me. And I know that Berseria just never played it because Zestiria kind of just... I don't know, maybe I was burnt out because they were coming out like one a year. But it looks like they're really... I forget what the new game is called, but it really seems like they are, reinventing that series. Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection. I've talked about these games a lot between, PS4 collections and PS3 collections. I think they're great. I think they're a ton of fun. Great shooters. Great action games. A lot of fun combat. Not combat. I mean, the shooting's all right, but where it really shines is the set pieces, is what I'm trying to say. The set pieces and just kind of the environments is where it really shines, and it's great. This is unpopular. My favorite of the PS3 games is Uncharted 3. I think that one is just the best, has the best set pieces. I just think it's great. But the other ones are also very fun. And Uncharted 4 as well. It's probably my favorite overall Uncharted game. Really kind of changed the series for the better. Really took their Last of Us experience and moved on and just kind of made something similar but completely, not completely different, but similar, but I guess just advanced. I mean, it's a next-gen game. They changed enough about it to make it feel new and fresh, I guess. Uncharted Lost Legacy. This started out as like a DLC expansion for Uncharted 4, and it became its full game. You can get this for cheap, but I wasn't really a big fan of it. It felt like the best parts of Uncharted were missing. Until Dawn, I got this again for really cheap. I also have it now on PS Plus, so I'm probably not going to be opening this one. I haven't played it, though. I've heard good things, but I just have not gotten around to it. Can't play every game. All right, we're getting into some Yakuza games. So I'm just kind of fire through them. I'm a big Yakuza fan. I'd like to make a video maybe. Tell me if this is a good idea or bad idea. Just kind of talking about Yakuza and, you know, kind of maybe some history about it and what I like about the series and why it's so cool and why you should check it out. But Yakuza 0, this is the one that really got big in the West. The first one I played was Yakuza 3 on PS3. And they are remaking those, or not remaking, remastering them, 3, 4, and 5. I think 3 and 4 are now out on the PlayStation Store to download, but they're doing like a pack on the PS4, like physical, which I'm waiting for. But those are all very good. Yakuza 0 is one of my favorite ones. Really great. I like the Cabaret Club mini game where you get to run the club. And that came back in Yakuza Kiwami 2, which I'll talk about. But just really awesome. Really just kind of... This is probably my favorite of the Yakuza stories proper. Really memorable characters, of course, classic. Yeah, Yakuza 0 is great. Yakuza Kiwami is a remake of Yakuza 1 for the PS2. A much needed remake of Yakuza 1. And it's really cheap. Both Yakuza 0 and Yakuza Kiwami are Sony Selects. What do they call them? PlayStation Hits, I think they call them, with the red case. They're $20. But I think on Amazon and Best Buy, they're like $10 right now or something like that. And then Yakuza 6 is like 15, and I think Kiwami 2 is like 15. I mean, Yakuza Kiwami launched at 30, and it's a fully featured game. So really great value there. Yakuza Kiwami 2, which is in the new engine, the Dragon engine they call it, that Yakuza 6 and Judgment also use. This is also one of the better of the Yakuza stories, so I think that 0 eclipses it for me. But once again, it has the Cabaret minigame, and it has the Clan Creator minigame that was introduced in 6. And the minigames, of course, are big parts of the Yakuza experience. Yakuza 6, I really liked it. I thought this had some great sub-stories. I think 0 has the best sub-stories, probably. I don't know, they're all so good. This series is so good. You guys gotta just play it. You can play them pretty much all except for 5 on the PS4 now. But yeah, if you want to get into the series, I would say start with 0, which is really cheap. Jump into Kiwami, then Kiwami 2. These games are all really cheap. You can get them now. And then once you got those done, probably you can play 3 and 4 that are on the PSN, and 5 will be on PSN, I think, by February. So, guys, you just got to do it. Just do it. If you listen to one thing I say, just do it. This is Yakuza Ishin. This is Japanese only. I got this on my trip to Japan. And this is a Japanese spin-off that uses the same characters, but I think they play their ancestors, or they play famous historical characters or something. I can't remember. But it takes place in the 1800s. I haven't played it because there is a guide available to play it. I'm not sure how easy it is to follow, but there is actually an English guide that kind of tells you what to do and how to do it for this game. It kind of gets you through it. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll wait for a translation. I don't think it's going to happen, though. Yooka-Laylee. This is the only game I've ever actually backed on Kickstarter. I was really excited for this. This is a group of former Rare, a lot of former Rare guys. I think the entire team is almost all former Rare guys. Made a Kickstarter to make like a spiritual successor to the Banjo games and some of their other classic platformers. And I was excited, and I feel like this game nails a lot of that feel, but they also didn't really evolve the series very much, and it just feels a little bit unpolished. I wasn't impressed with it, but I was, however, impressed with Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, which I thought was really solid 2D platformer. It's a lot like the modern Donkey Kong Country games, so recommended, definitely. And then I passed over some games, so I'm going to go back to those after this one. I don't have much to say about this. This was $5.98, Zone of the Enders second runner. It looks like it's a HD remake of Zone of the Enders. So now going back, I missed a couple games. I put like Steelbook games on the back of my collection and like odd shit. I guess essentially cases that aren't just the same, uniform plastic PS4 cases. I put it kind of as like, the end of my collection for a certain library. And I missed some of my games here. One of them being my favorite game on the system, which is Persona 5. Absolutely stellar JRPG. This is my favorite JRPG, and JRPGs are my favorite genre, so that should probably tell you how much I like the game. Absolutely awesome, just art style, music. It's really just great. Gameplay is great. It's an 80, 90 hour game, but it just somehow is still meaningfully paced throughout the entire game. I feel like it does kind of fall apart towards the end, pacing a little bit, takes a dump at the end, but really just great story, great characters, overall just fantastic. So excited for the Royal to come out. But yeah, that is Persona 5. This is Persona 3 and 4 Dancing Endless Night Collection. And these are dancing games, not dancing like Just Dance. They're rhythm games using, Persona music. It kind of reminds me of the theater rhythm games you saw on the 3DS for for Final Fantasy. And these games feel a little bit light on content. I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna keep completely fair, even as a big Atlas fan, as a big Persona fan. They're a bit light on content. This is a good bundle though. You can get this for like $60 now on Amazon, and it comes with 3, 4, and 5 dancing. So I mean, you got plenty of stuff to do there. If you want to play the game and kind of have a general guide, I would say definitely just go for the platinum. It's a fun platinum to go for. I think that's what makes a game worthwhile. That's where most of the content comes is actually making a metagame with yourself, using, trophies. But, I think it's a lot of fun. I wish more games would do a kind of a rhythm game using their music. I think that would be awesome if something like Smash Brothers or something along those lines came and did like a music game. Not too many series could really pull it off as much as like Final Fantasy or Persona, but I think it would be really, really awesome if, just make a $15 game where you just a rhythm game with your music. Valkyria Chronicles is fantastic. Also available on PS3 and the Switch and everything. Might be on Xbox, I'm not sure. I played Valkyria Chronicles 4 recently, which is, if you don't know, this series had 2 and 3 were on the PSP. 3 did not come out over here, and they were a bit different games. Not as good to a lot of people. I didn't actually ever play them because I've never had a PSP. But I played this one, which I think is fantastic. I played on PS3 and then a little bit on PS4 here. And then I played Valkyria Chronicles 4, which is also excellent. They are like, I don't know, you could say like XCOM, but I wouldn't exactly say like XCOM. They are strategy games, kind of almost like a Fire Emblem XCOM mix, where you control your enemy, control your allies on the field, run around with them, take cover, shoot. It's really great. It's really awesome. Fantastic. Highly recommended. But I'm going to call it for this long video. So, once again, leave a like if you enjoyed, and leave a comment down below with some of your PS4 games that you think I should play, or some of your favorites, or ones that I have in my collection you think are great. Likes and comments definitely help out the, channel growing and everything. Dislikes also help that out as well. So you kind of hate me for my opinions. You're still helping me if you give me a dislike. Other than that, though, follow me on Twitter on Objo Gaming, and I will see you next time.